What's up guys, my name is Aaron. Today I'm going to be reviewing My Own Private Idaho. This is an indie road trip movie directed by Gus Van Sant and it stars River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves. It's basically about these two friends, Mike and Scott, who go on this journey to try to find Mike's mother. They go to Idaho and then to Italy. It's really just more of like a story of trying to find yourself and trying to be more accepting of yourself. I've been trying to branch out and watch movies that I haven't seen before, just trying to be a little bit more open-minded and stuff and seeing what's actually out there outside of, like the regular blockbuster type movies and stuff. Gus Van Sant's the director that I've heard of. I've pretty much only watched Good Will Hunting. I haven't really watched anything outside of that. So I wanted to give him a try, and I've been watching River Phoenix movies for the past week or so because I've heard that he was like a really good actor, that he was like pretty much going to be like a leading man. I was just really interested to see how his career was and just seeing what type of movies he was making and stuff. Yeah, I feel like this movie is really great. I feel like this is like an amazing movie. I do love the cinematography, the way the movie's shot. It's really gorgeous. It's mostly shot outside, so you really get to see the full scope of the colors, how everything looks together. The colors pop out at you through the landscape that you see. There are also random shots inserted of nature, like there is like some salmon swimming upstream and then there's like a house that crashes on the ground. It does seem kind of random, but when you see it in the context of the movie, it does make sense and there are reasons why this stuff is actually happening. It's not just because it looks cool. I feel like this movie really isn't like that showy, but it is really beautiful. It's really naturalistic the way that it looks because it's shot outside so much. It's like the road that's never ending and stuff. I just love how this movie looks. It looks really great to me. And I do think that the subject matter, these two guys and their profession, is really interesting. These two guys are hustlers. Like, they give their body up for sex or dates. So you do see people pick them up and, do whatever they want with them, I guess, to an extent, and you get to see how they handle it. They also include some shots of real hustlers, like actually talking about their experiences, and it can be kind of terrifying when you actually think about it. There is sex in the movie, but it's not really gratuitous. It's done in these like really artsy still photos. You do get the extent of it, but it's not really that gratuitous, if you know what I mean. I feel like if you didn't really know about that scene with this movie, you get a bigger sense of what it would be like, and it's pretty interesting. I do love the characters too. The two guys are really interesting. River Phoenix plays Mike, who is this really sensitive and kind of tortured hustler. In extreme situations, he just faints and just falls asleep, like if something is kind of bothering him. This guy, you could tell that he's just longing for some comfort and a sense of family, and he kind of finds that in Scott, his best friend. Scott is played by Keanu Reeves. He's this rich kid that wants to be a hustler just to see what it would be like, I assume. I guess kind of like rebelling against his father. So while Mike is doing this out of necessity and, trying to get some type of family and stuff, I feel like Scott is just kind of doing this just because he can. He can just go back to his family if he wants to, and I feel like that's a really interesting dichotomy with that. Scott's more of like the stronger guy. He's not as prone to being sensitive and stuff, but he is caring of Mike. I feel like the characters were super relatable, and I do think that the chemistry with the two are really good. You really buy these two as friends, and their friendship is really interesting to watch. I don't think that Keanu Reeves is like an amazing actor, but I feel like he fits this role really well. But to me, this is definitely River Phoenix show. Keanu Reeves is fine for the most part. There are some moments, but I feel like this is definitely River Phoenix's show. River Phoenix just seems so fragile and childlike in this role. It looks like every single scene he's just about to break and just like break down. I feel like he threw himself into this role. Like, he almost seems like an animal. Like, he just seems like a wounded puppy to me. I feel like he communicates like the self-loathing and like the self-pity so well into this role. Like, you really do feel like this guy hates himself. The guy really went into character for this movie. Like, he actually went out on the streets and actually lived as a hustler, which is kind of crazy to me. You do hear about method actors like doing all this crazy stuff, like you hear Jared Leto doing all that crazy stuff while he's on set of Suicide Squad, but I feel like this was actually needed because this guy really embodies just this like tortured spirit, if you know what I mean. I even feel like he pulls off the narcolepsy stuff really well. I feel like that could be kind of cartoony if it wasn't done right. I feel like River Phoenix pulls this off really well. I would say that if you want to see like him at his best in this movie, I will look at the campfire scene where he kind of tells Scott that he really loves him and like even loves him more than a friend, and you could just see how like fragile and just how like conflicted he is with his feelings, because at the time, homosexuality wasn't like accepted and stuff, and it was just really heartbreaking to see him just put his whole emotions out there and leave himself so vulnerable. It was just really heartbreaking to see, and his acting was just perfection on that scene. I feel like it's a shame that he died so young, because based off his work that I've seen here in Running on Empty and Dogfight, I feel like this dude would have been like the actors that you just go to see the movies just because you know they're going to be so good. Like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, even his brother, like Joaquin Phoenix. I feel like he would have been up there with those actors, in my opinion. Yeah, but definitely I love this movie. I love the way that it was shot. Like, it was so beautiful. It wasn't showy, but it did have like a more naturalistic kind of outdoorsy feel that I did like to the movie. I thought that the look into this world was really interesting. I didn't know a lot about this world, and it was really interesting to see how these young guys would act. I love the characters. The characters are really interesting, really engaging, and kind of relatable to me. And I feel like River Phoenix's performance alone is definitely worth a watch to me. I feel like he definitely came across as really vulnerable and really tortured and stuff, and he really nailed that role to me. Yeah, I'd give this an A. I feel like there are some minor things that I would fix, like Keanu Reeves' acting is kind of not that great at some points. He's mostly fine for the most part. There's some weird Shakespeare dialogue that kind of seems a little bit jarring, but overall, that didn't really matter to me. I feel like this movie was fantastic. Definitely gonna look out more of Gus Van Sant's work, and I feel like this movie is just probably gonna be one of my favorite road trip movies. A really interesting movie. Definitely worth a watch in my opinion. So what did you guys think of the movie? Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? Let me know in the comments what you thought, and if you have any other movies that you want me to check out, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.